6:40, so we will get kicked off for 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes past the hour. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for attending the October session of the Use Cases Committee. I'm Jamie Wascalis. I am the chair advisor for this committee, and really excited to have you all here today. Again, just quick reminder that we do have the GovAI Coalition Summit coming up. If you can attend, please do. If you already gonna be attending, please come say hi to me. I'm really excited to see you all, and just excited to be here today. So I am going to be introducing our work today and our sessions, and then I'm actually going to be sneaking away and off because I am actually not working today. I have a friend visiting from out of town, and I haven't been able to take a lot of vacation this year, and so I'm going to finish my day off with her. But just wanted to introduce everybody and get together here. So welcome. Introduce yourself in the chat if you haven't done it in a while. We love new people coming to the table. We love getting reacquainted with people who continue coming to the table. And as we're looking to wrap up 2025, really excited to have you all here. So today we are going to just do a really quick recap of our use case demo session, our last use case demo session. And then we're going to jump into a couple of really great presenters that I'm really excited who are here. So we're first going to hear from Ethan Benatan, who is here from TriMet in the Portland area. And he's just going to give a really quick talk about the agentic state. He went to a recent conference, international conference, and of course, everything now is about AI, but came back with just some really great ideas and thoughts about how we can move forward looking at 2026. And when we're looking at agentic AI, what can we do in the government to help control the narrative of where things are going, of how we're using it? So we'll hear from Ethan first in our use case development portion, and then we're going to hear from, and thank you so much to these wonderful volunteers, the City of Dallas. Kenneth from the City of Dallas is here, and then Jonathan from the City of Chattanooga. Continuing the theme of how do we get value out of Copilot, Kenneth is going to talk about Dallas's approach, and then Jonathan is going to talk about the approach of a Google institution. We haven't talked much about Gemini, and I think it's really good for us to hear perspectives of how Google institutions, Google agencies are using the technology and what those experiences are like. So I am going to kick it over to Carrie Johnson. She's just going to give you a quick wrap up of the use case demo session, and then she'll pass it off to Ethan. And I'm going to go continue having a fun day off. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Hemant. Thank you, Albert, everybody here, Jonathan, Kenneth, and have a wonderful day. Thanks, y'all.
Have a good time, Jamie. Thank you. Hi, everybody. This is Carrie Johnson. I'm the Chief Data and Analytics Officer for the City of Scottsdale. Last week, for those of you that were here, we had a fun demonstration of what we could do with planning submissions to help speed up planning. And what that entailed was the City of Scottsdale had partnered with ASU KIC, which is an innovation organization that partners with AWS. So a student at ASU developed an AI app that lets you upload plans from citizens or construction companies or what have you, and it gives them their first review. So it goes through and says, did you submit all the documents you must have? And gives that a yes or no. And then it goes through the documents and looks at the rules that you're supposed to follow and says, oh, you forgot to put this in for your pool, or you didn't tell us where this water line is, or just all the rules in the ICC manual, and then the City of Scottsdale's sub rules. So that was a very interesting, and I think people took away the thought process of, oh, I want that. So I am working with ASU KIC on how we can finally release that code, and it will be available on GitHub for people to try themselves. It's a one-stall one-click install in AWS environment. And as soon as I have more information on that, I will get it out to this group. So that is what we talked about last week. It was very timely because I think Hemet is leading us in some other planning and permitting and licensing endeavors on and what AI can do to help us. And with that, I'm now going to pass it over to Ethan Benatan, GovAI Coalition board member, and he is going to talk about the Agentic AI concept called the Agentic State. Hi, Ethan. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you so much, everybody, for making time for me when Jamie reached out. I had briefed the board on some ideas about what it would mean for us in the coalition to kind of step up into a leadership role in the adoption of agentic AI. And I want to give you a very brief update on that, and I'm going to pop some links in the chat right now that I'll refer to as I talk a little bit, and we can take a few minutes for some Q&A if you want. And I have no idea who I'm supposed to hand over to after my part, so somebody please tell me, because that part wasn't covered yet. Otherwise, it's going back to you, Carrie, okay? As Jamie and Carrie mentioned, I'm fortunate I get to serve on the board of the GovAI Coalition. For my day job, I'm the Chief Information Officer for the transit agency TriMet in Portland, Oregon. We serve a 3-county region here. I was invited to go with a trade mission from Oregon, from the Technology Association of Oregon, and there's a link in the chat, the TAO, to Estonia for a kind of trade mission to connect with what's going on there, and also to attend the Talent Digital Summit. What I did not know before I left is that Estonia has what is almost inarguably the most advanced digital government on the planet. And honestly, it's kind of breathtaking when you see it in action. And I'll tell you just one fact to get your blood pumping a little bit, which is just make a guess in your head. I don't have anything interactive. Make a guess in your head on how long it takes the average Estonian citizen to file their taxes. Okay, so come up with a number, come up with a duration, and then I'll tell you the answer, 3 minutes. That's how long it takes. So this is because they have a very large and complex infrastructure that is built around making government services readily available in secure, privacy-protecting ways to the citizens of Estonia that are really user-focused. So the government websites in Estonia don't look like the DOT website or the DOR website here. They look a lot more like what you might expect from a customer-driven website, where you can go there and be like, oh, what do I need to pay my taxes? Or did I have a baby? Or what are the services I need? So this has set the ground, because of their advanced infrastructure and their advanced thinking, for the work that gets done at this annual digital summit. And the focus this year was on the future of agentic AI. And I want to just take you on a little journey, and I want to start off by referencing something Jamie said, which is, I'll see if I can get it straight, but what I heard her say was, hey, we're interested in really, doing more to shape the future of AI in the public sector, to shape the future of AI for the public good. I think there's really good work that we're doing right now that is very important and really accelerating us, that is about helping us adopt AI for the public good and helping us tell which parts are helping us. But I think we have a really wonderful opportunity to actually shape some. So let me talk for just a moment, if you will, and post questions in the chat. I can't answer the question about house prices. Sorry, Albert. But post questions in the chat if you want, and interrupt anytime, and I'll see if I can answer them. But I like to think about agentic AI, agents, as being a little bit more, especially in government, as acting a little bit more like we might think at the beginning. In particular, we might think about human agents acting. So when we talk about them, I would say we have agents right now, and I just imagine them as the frontline agents at the employment department or the Department of Transportation or the Department of Revenue or wherever they are, right? These are folks who they manage workflows for the agency. They manage workflows for the residents that we serve. They make a lot of decisions. They process a lot of information. They do it within relatively wide constraints of authority, right? And so when we think about agentic AI, we're thinking about AI that rather than being focused on one particular task or working as an assistant, the way that we heard about already today, that it actually can solve a problem in a context with some guardrails around it. And so the coolest thing that happened to me while I was at the summit was that I got to be present at a paper presentation and a workshop and in conversation with the authors of this paper, which is in the links right there. You'll find it on the page of the Agentic State. And it's about a 100-page paper. It is not particularly lightweight. But what it gives us is a framework for thinking about how government can work with agentic AI. And in particular, they raise some wonderful questions, which says, how do we make an agent which can make decisions, and how do we make that work inside our current system? And so where we are right now is that I am trying to pursue those ideas and to think about what the role is of the GovAI coalition in that. And so here's my question writ large, especially for the use cases group. If I could give you a standard and a procurement vehicle that would help you tell the difference between an agentic AI, which was built for the public good and which you could trust to operate in a positive way, right? So I can give you that and this standard, and there's a way of certifying that, hey, this agent that you're about to put to work, right, in your system meets these standards for safety, for lack of bias, for transparency, for accountability, for reversibility. Then would you be willing to build that into your procurements, and would you find it useful? You don't have to answer that question, but I'd be a little surprised if folks were not kind of saying yes, because that's one of the things we do really well at the coalition. And one of the reasons people show up is like, you help us find the stuff that's actually working. Well, there's no language for that yet, right? But there's bits and pieces of that language available. And so what I'm really excited about is the opportunity for the coalition to get involved in kind of building that standard so that we could actually specify, okay, whether it's Oracle or Workday or some random package that you're buying that has agents in it, or a third-party agent that somebody's trying to come and sell you, or one even that you're developing yourself, could you readily specify that it has these characteristics and attributes that are going to make it palatable for you to use in your system, right? Because you don't want an agent in there that's like, oh, I'm going to make random decisions, and then I'm never going to be able to explain how they were made, and you can't really reverse them after I do them. Like, that's not an okay way for government to behave, right? So that's it at a super high level. I've talked for long enough. Patrick says NIST has done this work. I'm aware of the NIST standards for AI overall, but I'm not aware of ones that would necessarily be ready for us to adopt this way. So I may have some learning there. So yeah, pass that along if you can. Thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. So I'll stop there. If there's questions, I'll answer them. And if not, I'll hand it back to Carrie.
Well, I'm not hearing any questions, and I see some good questions and answers in the chat. And I think, Hammond, are you here? If Hammond is not here, we will just hand it right over to Ken from Dallas and hear about your AI approach with Copilot.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right, gear is working. I'm Ken Hoag. I'm an IT manager for the City of Dallas, and I also perform as the AI advisor to the CIO. and I have been fortunate enough to get to play with some of the AI that we're going to be able to bring in. We're taking a very measured, practical approach to AI. We have to focus on governance, have to focus on value and usability. Um, for those that are from Texas, you're familiar with TRAGO, which is the Texas Responsible AI Governance Act. That has come into play. It takes effect actually in January. So we're building compliance checklists and working with vendors to make sure that they can meet those standards. I will say that we are using the AI fact sheet that looks a whole lot like the one from the GovAI Coalition, except I stamped Dallas over the word GovAI Coalition. Um, we've used some of the GovAI Coalition other documents to help us with our procurement to define things that we need from the vendors and stuff. A lot of the methodology or the mentality we're using is use what you own first. And I say that in most of our knowledge workers are using Microsoft tools. They're using Office, Outlook, Teams, SharePoint. They're using the Microsoft ecosystem. We have people in HR that spend most of their day in Workday. We have some other portions of the city that are using Salesforce for their things. We have others in ServiceNow. So when you come with the question of what can you give me for AI? My first question back to you should be, what tool are you normally using? If you're a knowledge worker and most of what you're doing is in office types of things, there's a good chance Copilot is going to be a very good answer for you. And if you grow to a little bit bigger of an area, if you're using the whole Office data storage fabric, then Azure may be a good tool to look at. If you're using Google, then if you're using AWS, then use some of Google's tools. When the HR team comes, our first question is that something we can do with the AI tools that are in Workday? So we use what we've got first. And then if we can't resolve it, if we can't give you what you need in the tool that you're normally using, if it's not organic, then we're going to go outside to try and find something else. I have a feeling that we'll go a long time before we can find stuff that we can't do. With that said, we have brought in a tool for our procurement team that is a different tool. But everybody knows you take care of your procurement team. So we took care of our procurement team. Copilot. We've been we've been dabbling with Copilot for a period of time now. We did our Copilot feasibility study, and we've done our Copilot data readiness study. I'm sorry, it was Copilot readiness study, then a data readiness study. That eventually morphed into use cases, and we have collected about 42 use cases. When I went out and asked for the use cases, I didn't say Copilot specifically, I just said AI. So some of them aren't Copilot use cases, but a lot of them are. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be running a pilot test for, I believe, 14 of the use cases that we've got. We're going to get some statistics so that we can then go back to the leadership and say, we believe we can make the biggest impact for an acceptable price if we go with this direction. Something I want to point out that we've learned about Microsoft is be cautious with your licensing. Their licensing is very complex, and if you don't ask enough questions, you could be kind of caught off guard. Copilot has a licensing fee, and if you only need a couple of them, it doesn't cost very much. But if you need 10,000 of them, it'll cost you a lot of money every month. You also have to factor in if you're going to start building agents and those agents use messages, or if those agents use tokens, that you have a way to pay for those messages and tokens. And that part gets a little more tricky because the whole goal of building say a chat bot would be for it to be used more and more. But if by using it more and more, your cost of using it goes up, now you have to come up with good strategies on how you're going to maintain that. I don't have those strategies yet. We're still trying to figure out the best way to do it. If any of you have figured it out, please let me know. Tomorrow, I mentioned we're doing our AI event. It's going to be it's internal just to the city and actually only to about 5 different departments because we're trying to keep it contained until the point where we're ready to just blow it up. But we have a fair amount of use cases, some of which we're finding really good results for things like here's a 700-page contract, here is a EULA, here is a statement of work. Can you compare these and tell me, is everything covered? Are there things in the EULA that aren't in the contract? Are there things in the contract that the EULA doesn't cover? And if you we've learned that if you ask the question, you'll get some kind of an answer. But if you ask the question very specifically, you can get very good answers to include if you use like a statement of work evaluation spreadsheet to evaluate your statement of work, it can tell you everything's good. But if you tell it, and when you tell me it's good, tell me where you found it in the statement of work. Then when after you've run it, if it finds 10 of 15 things, you can quickly check. It says number 1 is here. Yes, I see it. It says number 2 is here. Yes, I see it. You can quickly check off the ones that are good so that you don't have hallucinations. And then you can spend your time on the ones that weren't as good. And the last part, and I haven't been able to engage in this as much as I want yet, but the last part's going to be training. We've had quite a few sessions with Gartner and Forrester, and it AI literacy I don't think is enough. If somebody is just given a tool and they know nothing about the tool, and the tool starts to give them answers that aren't right, they may not know enough to be able to tell. We will have to do some training because it's required by Traga that'll be very similar to like end of year security training, but we're also going to have to look at how we're going to build our AI queue up. Um, maybe class like responsible AI and ethics and governance, but even things like how to do prompt engineering so that you can get better prompts that will give you answers that are much more accurate. That's about all that I've got. We're having a good time right now, hoping we're going to get to implement this soon. And reach out to me if you have any questions, and I would love to work with anybody who's okay. Am I leveraging chat agents built on small language models? We have not gotten to that point yet. Tomorrow we'll be testing a few chat agents, but we aren't doing our own language models at this point in time. Right now, we're doing the ones that are in the tools that we have. Um, were there any others? Okay, if there's any others, I'll go ahead and hit them offline. But I appreciate the time to talk, and I've really appreciated the benefits we've gotten out of the Gov AI Coalition.
Great, thanks. I think I'm up next. Is that right, Albert?
You are?
Yep. All right. Thank you. So hello, everybody. Jonathan Taylor with the City of Chattanooga. I'm the new director of AI and data here for about 3 months now. And so I was talking with Jamie, I think it was about last month. And since we're a Google shop, there's a lot that we're doing that's similar to Dallas, but it's just now in the context of Google. So we do everything in Google. We use Google Docs, Google Calendar, Gmail. We're a whole Google shop throughout the city. We don't use Microsoft Excel. Maybe there's a few people here and there. But since we're Google specific, Jamie wanted to talk about some of the maybe nuances going on there. But again, everything that we heard about Dallas, about, just kind of integration and moving things along, that it it's all the same. It's just what flavor are you going to choose? Microsoft, Google, whatever it is. So uh, just these slides are just there's nothing fancy on them. It's just kind of help me uh, keep my talking points there. So we're going to talk about the approach, productivity use cases, some data analysis, Vertex AI sort of stuff. If you haven't heard some of the Google things, I think this is pretty cool introduction. So first off, talk about the approach. So our data existed before me. It was very siloed off, and it still is. We're still working on that. AI is great, but you need data. And so if your data for 311 lives here and your data for something else lives here and lives here and lives there, they need to be able to talk to each other, and you need to be able to grab them all from one another. So we're actually using Google's BigQuery and some other tools to bring them all into a data lake. The idea being, once we have that data lake, that's not where operations are driven from, but that's where insights are driven from data science. But then also AI can now have this rich source of information to draw from. So our strategy set by our CIO, kind of when he joined, was, hey, we're going to hire this guy, Jonathan, and he's going to lead a data transformation. So that's what I was just talking about. We're going to go through Google, BigQuery, use a whole bunch of tools there. As we're kind of ending that, right, we're getting all of our data sources. We're kind of tying up some loose ends there. While we're doing that, actually, while we're building that data foundation, we've actually already unleashed AI. Right, there's building AI, which is the AI projects that I'm going to talk about here in a second. But the biggest thing is just encouraging adoption where we're at right now. So Gemini went live in Google Workspace, and we just kind of turned it on. One of the benefits about paying for AI and paying for Google Workspace and Gemini within there is that we have data sovereignty. We own our data and our citizens' data. It's not being used to train models, which is a major concern of citizens. I personally am all for using my data to train. I want to make AI better. Use it all day long. Not all of our constituents necessarily are going to agree. So our default is we want sovereignty over the data. And when you pay for Copilot Premium or Gemini subscriptions, that's usually baked in. And so we actually, every city employee with a computer, I mean, really every city employee that has an email, which is everyone, has access to Gemini because we just paid for it. We want them to use it from everything for it. If you're writing an email, you can use Gemini in that. If you're looking at your calendar, you can use Gemini. There's so many different things. And we just kind of turned it loose. Said, hey, go use it. Let us know how you're doing it. This is great. And we encourage it. So yeah, Gemini Notebook LM, which I'll show here in a second, trying to encourage adoption, right? One of my metrics for how I'm doing is measuring how many people are using Gemini, how they're using it, where are they using it? Are they using it in Sheets or in Slides or in Gmail or in Chrome? Now that just went out. We've got webinars that we host for city employees. We mention and talk about AI and all the new hire orientations now. So our training team is very involved. I went to the Parks and Outdoors department the other day, and we just talked about AI and how they might be able to use it. And I'll show you a cool little use case here in a minute. And then there's the AI projects. So things like chatbots or 311 services or pothole recognition was something we just got a lot of attention for over the last couple of years. So all of that though requires data, right? You can't do pothole recognition unless you like have some geospatial data and you know where your streets are mapped. And so all that data's got to come from somewhere. And then you've got to manage all your other, pictures and things like that too. But productivity, real quick, right? Since we're a Google shop, having all of this native into one platform is really incredible. So you're in Gmail in your Chrome browser, you can just click the little Gemini button. Hey, I need to write an email to this person about blah, 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 blah. Can you help me draft this? Or can you manage my tone? Or one of the really cool things, hey, I'm on this email chain. Can you actually set up a meeting with everybody here for next week, Tuesday at 4, and it'll create the calendar and you just click send. Within Google Slides, right? We use it, make a little image, make a graphic, help me make some bullet points or summarize this text into some bullet points for me. Google Sheets, I'm actually it's always fun to do things live. I'm just going to show you a little bit of some stuff I was working on earlier in Google Sheets. Google Drive, hey, find me some files related to XYZ or summarize this document. Great. Google Meet, just like we're in Zoom now, right? We've got meeting summaries, meeting transcripts. One thing I do like about Google Meet is you can use AI right there within it to create your own background. So if I was on a Google meeting, you would see this fake modern looking office with Chattanooga branding back behind me. It's just kind of fun to play around. We've done spaceships and other things internally too. I think my favorite was a cat co-piloting a spaceship, like a little kitten. Chrome just released Gemini, and I've been testing that out even today, just playing around, having fun. I shared the document about agentic AI and government. That link was shared in the chat. I opened it up. I said, hey, Gemini and Chrome, can you summarize this PDF for me? And it went through and did that and gave me kind of the high level stuff right there from within my browser. I didn't have to download it and do anything else. So that's been really nice. Some other native things. So now this is like Gemini next level. Is Notebook LM. If you're not familiar with it, it's a RAG search, but you can actually share your notebooks with other people. So we've actually used it. As soon as I get off this slide, I'll show you. We're working on embedding a Notebook LM search with our employee handbook so that you can search and ask questions about employee policy. You can also use Notebook LM. You can paste a YouTube video in there and say, hey, summarize this for me, or summarize all these different documents for your different RAG searches. Say wastewater treatment. I could put a whole bunch of manuals in there, and now they could reference that notebook as just a RAG search to help them just figure out how to fix the pipes or whatever's going on. The Gemini app itself, like gemini.google.com, lots of cool things. It's just like ChatGPT or whatever you're used to. You can make pictures, videos, do research. There's a really cool feature where you can have like a real sounding podcast to summarize things that you're listening to or that you fed into it. Just kind of fun. Some ideas that I've had around that are, well, what if I use that underlying tech to summarize city council videos that we record and then provide that to the citizens? And then Gemini also has these things called gems, where you can kind of create your own personal assistant for XYZ. It could be for social media tone, or hey, I need a Gen Alpha social media bot, and I need also a millennial social media bot. And they're going to have two different tones, but you've got three different people on your team. How do you make them sound consistent? Well, you can feed everything through that one gem that you've shared, or those multiple gems that you've shared. And now all of a sudden you've got this branding, you've got this consistency that's really good through it. So a couple things real quick. So here we are in Google Gemini. It's just playing around. I saw an event earlier. The details of this aren't exactly the same, but I said, hey, can you give me an image for social media that captures the following, website announcement for the city, for a movie event in the park? Boom. There we go. Throw that up on social media. Professional branding. Don't need a graphics designer. That took 30 seconds to build. When I was talking with Parks and Outdoors the other day, they were thinking, oh, hey, it'd be so fun if we had, a video of this. So I was showing them some things. So like this took a few seconds. Sasquatch is a thing around Chattanooga for some reason. So I just said, hey, make a video of Sasquatch chasing kids and having fun. There's obviously some refinement that needs to happen, but right, I didn't have to go pay $20,000 to some company. I can just throw this on Instagram or whatever, and it's going to get a lot of attention for visitors. It's fun for the kids. Um, so that's Gemini. Notebook LM. Here's an example. I've got a notebook with our employee handbook, and I can just say, How many hours of PTO do I accrue? And I probably spelled something wrong, but so now this rag search, I only have the EIG going, but boom, it just tells me all this stuff and it links back to the references. So, right, it's a little bit different for fire than it is police and day shift. But I can just right there, like and it's good, and I know it's good because it links me to exactly where it is in the document that I was looking at this stuff. And this is right, Gemini and Notebook LM can also see into my Gmail. They can see into my calendar. They can see into all my other Google stuff just natively. It's there to go. They're ready to go. Um, Lastly, for data analysis, just kind of a real-time thing. So this is from our parks department, and they use a Google Forms, right, where they just go to this website and they enter stuff about the different parks and how many fire ants are there. How do they, they're all trained on how to score these things. But if we look at the raw data, I came in, this takes a little bit longer. It takes about 30 seconds, which is forever on a live call. I said, hey, generate some insights or trends for this, right? And all I had to do, this window wasn't here. I just clicked this Gemini button. It's ready to go. Here we are. Ask it a question. What are some insights? The average inspection score is 107. Okay, that's weird. Some people are scoring higher. Areas for improvement. It's going ahead and telling me some of the lower things. I could ask it to highlight every row where, and there's no comments in this one, unfortunately. There were comments, I believe, in this sheet over here. So I could take this and I could say, everything that's a safety concern in the comment, could you please highlight that row red? Boom, it's going to do it. It'll format that for me. Another use case I was talking with Jamie about is we do some citizen surveys and they can leave comments, right? You go to a QR code, type some things out, leave some comments. You just sit here and say, hey, could you summarize the comments from column O or just from the comments column and do text analytics? You could have thousands and thousands of responses and just do text analytics on it right there, tell you the highlights of it, save you, you know, a junior employee probably 3 or 4 hours worth of work going through and doing it. You can just have it and play with it. Hey, how many people mentioned, the start time being delayed or the parking? Were there parking problems that people were mentioning? All sorts of things. And then, by the way, just I'm sure in Copilot and Excel, whatever, but just the formulas that this thing can come up with to help you be an Excel guru are just incredible. At least Gemini will help you do pivot tables. It'll do all sorts of stuff to really take some beginner analytics up to the next level. But training is a thing. You got to get people trained and used to doing it. So that was the data analytics. Lastly, kind of the Vertex AI search piece. So this is where Google has some advanced things. We're going to connect up our website to what's called Vertex AI within Google. And that website, or what Vertex is going to do, is actually make our website do an AI powered search. So now just from chattanooga.gov, it's not there yet. We're working on it. This takes a little bit more hands-on development, but we want people to be able to search like, hey, I want to build a fence. What do I need to know? And then it takes you through permitting or gives you the number to the right office, various things like that. Also working on intranet searches through Vertex AI, doing some constituent services work. It's all kind of being developed. I've only got a team of 3 right now and hiring for 2 more. And we're responsible for, kind of overseeing all this. Lastly, build an app from a prompt. I forgot I put this one in there. So this one you would still need developers, but here we had a use case come up the other day. We're on Google Meet and people are at an in-person meeting and they still want transcripts. They want to be able to reference it. But if you're on the Google Meet, it'll kind of, if you're just the only participant, it'll shut off after 10 minutes because it thinks you're alone and it doesn't want to waste bandwidth. But they still want the transcripts. So I could come in here, hey, I want an app that'll take in audio or video, give me a full transcript, separate it by the different identified speakers. Great. And I guess I didn't click transcribe earlier, but right, I made this. It took 57 seconds to make the edit of this app. If I look at the code, it developed all this code for me, did all that. I would need to make sure this is secure and give it to some other people, but and of course clicking out of the preview does it. But it did. It took that, little audio thing and it transcribed. It had speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. Boom, ready to go. No, I don't need to go pay someone to do that. But you could think of all sorts of, we had a client intake form and management use case for our Family Justice Center. All sorts of fun things that you can do with AI. And really, I think one of the benefits to Google, and the same is for Copilot, it just depends where you're working. Staying native unlocks a whole lot of things. I don't have to worry about how do I integrate Gemini to my mail, or how do I integrate X to Y if it's already all built in there. But by the same token, as the gentleman from Dallas was sharing, sometimes it doesn't do everything I need it to. And so we will then continue to look outside. Um, but yeah, one of the biggest things I think is data is maybe a different working group, but data sovereignty. There's definitely advantage to paying for these services. And I think staying native makes a lot of sense, and it's cost savings too. One thing that is different about us is, like I said, we're paying for all of our employees to have this. I can't really speak to the cost that much off the top of my head, but that's Google. That's Gemini. That's Notebook LM. That's all the stuff that we're doing and having a lot of fun with. So there are a few questions that might have come up. I'm scrolling through right now. I'm glad that we turned it on for all employees. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. When you say when Gemini doesn't give us what we need, we look outside. What does that look like? So for instance, this transcript thing that I was talking about, some people are like, oh, I want Otter AI, or I want to use Tableau because I don't like the Looker Studio dashboards that you have. Then we do a study and we say, all right, is this really just a knowledge thing or a preference thing, or is this a capability thing? In the case of the transcripts, it really is a capability because, I made this little app, but do I really want to sit here and manage it and maintain it and do all the things? So maybe we do go outside and maybe we do open up a limited number of licenses to that, right? We're not just going to blanket it to everybody. Um, and yeah, just back to the turning it on for city employees, kind of our take is, hey, go for it. Just have fun. If we need to rein you back in, we will. And then there's a whole nother governance side of things, but we're talking about the fun side right now, where you get to use it and just have fun. And so that's what I would encourage everyone on the call. Just encourage the usage. Be positive about it. Go have fun. You can clean up messes later if you need to, but just be careful about your data. Don't go send somebody's tax bills to ChatGPT and make it where it's on the whole internet now. Be safe. Yeah, thank you guys for the opportunity to talk. I probably went way over, but I get really excited about this stuff. So thanks for hearing me out. I guess Albert, back to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm back. I'm able to see the slides now. Thank you for sharing. So again, Jonathan, thank you very much for the presentation, and that was great. I think Gemini is something that we all are learning also. On, we've talked so much about Microsoft Copilot. A lot of people were curious on Google Gemini, so I think you gave a very, very nice summation of some of the capabilities. So again, thank you for that. Albert, I'm not sure who has a so next topic is really just breaking into work groups. And the two working groups I think that we have, or at least we would like to set up, one for the Copilot case study and the other one for meeting use case. Who would be able to set up those breakouts?
Yeah, I mean, I can set up those breakout rooms. We want 2 breakout rooms, one for the permitting and one for the Copilot.
Yes, please. Yep.
Absolutely. I can
Thank you.
set that up. And if people, if they're not interested in going into either of the breakout rooms, is there anything else in the main room for them?
No, I think unless there's anything else, anybody has any questions, this was our agenda from what I see. So that was the last topic, was the presentation from Jonathan.
Awesome. Then I'm just gonna open the rooms. I know, and if anyone is having trouble joining one of them, just message me in the chat and I can assign you to it. But otherwise, thank you all.
Thank you.